What's up, guys? It's Attack on Samurott, coach of the Washington Samurotts, and welcome to Week 14, Season 3 of the OBA, or Season 3, Week 14 of the OBA. So, this week we had a rematch against John 2, who we had battled on Week 7, I believe. So, basically, this is the last match. This is the last match of the regular season. If we manage to win this game, then basically we would secure our position on being on playoffs. So for this week, he actually brought with him Latius, Volcanion, Umbreon, Salamence, Golurk, and Raikou. So my prediction was somewhat correct. I had a feeling that he was going to bring Salamence because he brought it last time. I had a feeling he was going to bring Umbreon because, again, that's a pretty tanky wall. Raikou, kind of expected. Kind of. Volcanion, I kind of expected. Latius, I kind of expected a little bit because, again, I expected Latius and Raikou to come because those two could speed tie with Gengar, or it can be faster with it. Than it by running a Choice Scarf, or whatever. But this week, like I had mentioned in my team builder, I brought with me Big Bertha the Aggron, Puma the Suicune, Nappy the Gengar, Outage the Mega Manectric, Harmony the Whimsicott, and Queen Anne the Nidoqueen. So let's get into this match in 3, 2, 1, go. So I just want to put it at normal speed. So for the first turn, he actually starts off with Latias versus Gengar. So actually on that turn, I actually wanted to switch out because I was predicting him to be like a Choice Scarf set. So it kind of confirmed that he was sort of Choice Scarf because he actually went for Psyshock right off the bat instead of going for Draco. I go for the Toxic as he switches into Raikou. So this really helped, especially later. I think like turn 10 or something like that, around that turn. But anyways, he's actually gonna go for an extra sensory and kind of psych me out right here. I was kind of thinking that he would have been like some kind of spec set, maybe a Life Orb or something. But I'm actually getting my Stealth Rocks up and stuff. So he goes for extra sensory on the switch in, expecting me to stay in with Queen Anne, but I didn't. I go Moonblast. I don't take it out, so that kind of confirmed to me that, oh, he was an Assault Vest Raikou, but it doesn't matter because he just dropped to the Toxic right there. So really helped. Now I bring in Outage, my Mega Manectric, as my regular Manectric, as he brings in Golurk. He actually goes for the Stealth Rock play right here. Smart plan is for to get up his hazards and stuff. So he actually predicts the Shadow Ball, brings in Umbreon, as I do go for the Shadow Ball, and it does about 17% to it. So it basically it doesn't really tell you much, but I switch out, bring in Puma, who can actually Toxic this thing. He's gonna go for a Yawn. And I wanted to get the Toxic off because then that way Puma wouldn't have to worry about being put to sleep. So actually that was really good for me. But he goes for the taunt play and kind of catches me right there. So that means I can't set up a rest or anything. I can't go for a Calm Mind or anything like that. So I'm forced to switch out. I bring in Big Bertha to actually put on some decent pressure. I go for the Iron Head, does about 28%. Doesn't really do that much. So that kind of told me that I was actually initially thinking that he would have been like a physically defensive set. But anyways, I'm gonna switch out. Gonna bring in Nappy as he brings in Golurk back in. So actually, I want to pause right here on this play. So on this play right here, I actually go for I actually try and I actually know this part right here is actually pretty important. Because basically, as he brings in Golurk, I was thinking in my head, after he switched out Umbreon into Golurk, I was thinking, okay, he's probably gonna try and play the mind games with me. So this part right here is all mind games. Gengar versus Golurk. I had a feeling he was gonna switch back into Umbreon, so I actually had to So I was actually thinking of two things. I was thinking that he would switch into Umbreon, or maybe stay in with Golurk, or go into Latias. I was thinking of those two because he could predict the Focus Blast hitting Umbreon and stay in, or go into Latias, or he could just, or he could pretty much, or he could predict the Shadow Ball and go back into Umbreon. So I was initially thinking that, but then it kind of didn't really make sense that, oh, he's gonna, but then it didn't really make sense to me that if I go Shadow Ball, he would either sack it, or he'd switch out, or he'd switch out into Umbreon. So I go for the Focus Blast, and you're gonna see it actually screws me up a little bit right here. So I go Focus Blast. Of course I miss because he's ghosting ground. He goes Shadow Punch, and that knocks out my Gengar. Now that's bad. That was bad for me at this point, because Gengar would have been such a huge help with breaking down the rest of his walls and stuff, especially like Salamence would have broke down the Gengar. Not the Gengar, the Volcanion and such. But because I made that one over prediction, that really cost me. So Nappy, unfortunately, had to drop right there. So I guess basically what I learned from this, I should probably try and not like over predict too much. Like if he switches, if he brings Umbreon out first. If Umbreon's already on the field, well, I guess technically it was a switch in, but if he switches out back into Golurk that's weak to Ghost, back into something that's weak to the type that you're effective against, then you may as well just stay in and just go for the super effective move. But that's kind of what I learned from that. But anyways, let's get back into it. So I bring in Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen's gonna take some Stealth Rock damage and stuff. I go for an Ice Beam. It does not take out the Golurk, which was pretty unfortunate. If it had taken out Golurk, that would have been huge for me. I actually got low rolled. If I got a high roll, it definitely would have taken out the Golurk. But anyways, I get the Mega off. I go for a Snarl, and there goes Golurk. So Golurk is gone. He's gonna bring in Latias. Now this was another play right here. So this was crucial because all I had left was Outage, Puma, and Big Bertha. So bringing in Latias was actually pretty scary, because he honestly right here on this play, he could have went for a Draco, and that honestly would have been it. Well, okay, no, I'm not gonna say that. It would have been a little bit more difficult if Latias had went for a Draco and took out my Mega Manectric. If that had happened, then it would be kind of difficult to like bring down the Latias and stuff. Then bring down the rest of his team, since since Manectric can pretty much outspeed everything else. Barring the Choice Scarf, if any of his mons had it. If any of his remaining mons had it. They're pretty much going to see that they don't have what I had expected at the time. But he goes Psyshock, which again was, which was a pretty weird play for him to go for, because, well, okay, no, Psyshock was the safest play he could make, because if he went Draco, then most likely Aggron would have lived, and definitely wouldn't have outsped it, but he could have predicted the Draco play. He could have went Draco. That would have done a lot to Aggron, maybe even take it out. Most likely, since Aggron's special defense is pretty terrible, like base 60 or something. Even with a little bit of investment, it can't really take special hits very well. Or with max investment, it can't really take all special hits that well. But basically, I kind of had to play off that if he was going to go Draco or Psyshock. He went Psyshock, so pretty much you're going to see how this goes. I live the Psyshock with Manectric. I go for a Snarl that weakens his Psyshock, which means that pretty much I could come in with I was able to come in with Suicune for free. I probably on that play right there, going for the switch in, I should have just went for Volt Switch anyway, since pretty much his ground resist was gone. That honestly would have been a better play for me to do, or go for a Thunderbolt, weaken it a little bit. But He's gonna get off the wish with the Umbreon. It doesn't really matter for me, so I just go for a rest with Puma, as he actually switches back into Latias to get his wish out. To get the wish up. So I go for the rest, heal up, get the wake up with the Chestnut Berry. He goes, his wish activates and stuff. He goes for a Thunderbolt, gets a crit. I mirror code him. Goodbye, Latias. So Latias drops, which was huge, very huge actually. Definitely huge. He goes for a D-Dance. I go Ice Beam. Goodbye, Salamence. So Salamence drops with the Ice Beam. And now it's pretty much Suicune versus Volcanion, which Volcanion, we say both pretty much counteract each other. He goes for Toxic on my Suicune as I land the Toxic on his Volcanion. We're both getting whittled down by Toxic. I go for Ice Beam just to get a little bit of chip damage on him, try and rank up with the Toxic. He roars me into Mega Manectric. If he had roared me into Aggron, it wouldn't have mattered anyway because Volcanion would have definitely dropped. But I go Thunderbolt, goodbye, Volcanion. So Volcanion drops, and Umbreon comes in. I go Volt Switch, get a little bit of chip damage on him, switch out, go back into Aggron, and Aggron pretty much finishes the game with a Head Smash. So yeah, that was honestly a very close game. He definitely made a few misplays though. Definitely like probably, actually no, I'm gonna say I made some misplays too, and he made some as well. But I feel like maybe he probably could have played a little bit more aggressively with that Volcanion. Even though it's set though, it's set with Toxic and Roar. I don't know what other moves he had. Probably like Steam Eruption, some Fire type move, or maybe some kind of like something. But he could have tried to be at least a little bit aggressive with Volcanion. Probably, if he had done that, then maybe he could have had like a different. Then maybe different stuff could have happened. Maybe it could have went to his advantage. Who knows? But yeah, so pretty much we won. So that means that we secure our position in being in playoffs, which is pretty cool because we haven't been to playoffs since season 1. So I'm actually pretty excited for it. So I don't know if Kanger's actually like set up the schedule for next week for the playoffs. But I probably will make a separate video on that, most likely about the playoffs. But yeah, but anyways, this is cool. We finally made the playoffs after a season of just terrible luck, and it was just a terrible season last year. I mean, last season was just terrible for us. But this is definitely the comeback season, baby. Comeback season. But anyways, yeah. So, one more thing I want to leave off before I go. After this season, I will probably not be coming back to the next season. I might come back to the season after next. It depends. But this is pretty much gonna be it. So I'm happy that we made the playoffs. Let's just hope that we can push forward and keep going, because I think it would be pretty sweet if we won playoffs this season. But anyways, I will see you guys in week 1 of the playoffs. Take care and have a good one. And oh yeah, and support the Washington Samurotts as we make it to playoffs. Take care.